Hey guys, it's Smudge here. This is just a quick video to show the startup sequence for the AV-8B Harrier. Now just a quick word before we start. This is the early release version, so some things aren't implemented, such as the INS navigation alignment, and things are always subject to change with kind of pre-release aircraft or early release aircraft. But what we'll do is that we'll go through a startup on the aircraft in its current state. And then we'll kind of go from there. So the first thing that you need to do, a couple of pre-flight checks. First, make sure that the throttle's in the idle cutoff position. Now you know it's in the idle cutoff position because there's a little handle that sticks up on the top of the throttle. You can just see it there. If you move it out of the idle indent, that goes away. So when you move it into the idle indent, that's up. Make sure that's on. Another thing to do, oops, mind my track is also make sure that the nozzle position is in about 20 degrees nose down, or 10, at least 10 degrees nose down, 10 to 20 for startup. That way you don't end up kind of damaging flaps and things like that on the back of the aircraft. So that's the only kind of pre-flight things I need to check first, is that the throttle's cut off and the nozzles are about 10 degrees angled downwards. So the first step is to turn on the battery. So right click on that in order to move it up, and then right click on the generator to move that up as well. Now the sequence does vary. Certain people do it different ways, but I'm just going to go kind of through this the way that I do it and the way that I found that works. Now on the left side here you've got the fuel shutoff valve. You need to move that down and then move up the DEX switch, which is the digital engine management system. We then come down here and turn on the fuel pumps left and right, and then the fuel regulator switch. We can also turn on the oxygen switch while we're down here as well. We can come forward, switch on the pitch, roll and yaw SAS switches. You can also do the Q feel, RPS yaw, anti-skid, leave that in nose wheel steering, and then set flaps to auto. We then come back across here, and then we'll put the engine into start.
Warning, warning.
So we've got a master caution there. One thing as well to do, there's a master caution switch thing down here. If you left click on that, all of the warning lights come off and then some go on, and then that activates the caution system as well. Okay, so our engine's kind of going up now, so we'll move the throttle out of the idle indent. And we'll close the canopy at this point as well because it gets pretty loud. But as you can hear, everything's starting to get very noisy as the engine's kind of turning over. Okay, so now that the engine's starting up, we'll go ahead and turn on the HUDs and all of the radio systems. So there's several different knobs that need to be turned. So we'll start from the top. So there's a brightness knob here, and then the volume knobs here to turn on the radios. The main HUD knob is here, so we can turn that, and then we'll also turn up these brightness and contrast things for the forward-looking infrared, although they're not currently implemented. We've got the MFD knobs on the left and right here to turn up, and then we can also turn on these for here, so we've got the RWR to on, and then you can adjust the volume on it as well. And then you've got the jammer, this is the FLIR sequence here, so that's the top launchers, down launchers, and then RWR kind of specified. So you can leave that in auto and then it fires all four at once. And then you've got your jammer here. We don't have a jammer on the aircraft, but if you did, then you could move that into standby, bit test, or off. So we'll just kind of leave that off. And when you switch that on, you get a couple of warning caution lights for the jammer down there because we don't have one on. What we'll also do is come down here. At the moment, the INS alignment isn't modelled, but if we come down here, normally you'd put that into ground align and then leave it there for however long it takes, but on this you can just put that straight into nav. We'll move the forward looking infrared switch up and the DMT switch up, so this enables the forward looking infrared camera on the nose, and then this enables the TV camera that's on the nose for aiming and things like that. Right, okay, and that's us pretty much ready to rock and roll. You can select comms on the rotator knob here, so you just mouse wheel over to select your airfield, so select one and press it in to activate that. And then on these you can, there's lots of different sub-panels and things you can click on, so if we click on EHSD you get your overhead kind of HSI. When the map's programmed in, you'll hit map M, and then you get a moving map on here, but that's not currently implemented. As you can see, that there's no map loaded. So if we click off that, it just goes back to the HSI, and then on the stick, oops, just center off my tracker again here. There's a control here called a sensor switch, which controls the right MFD, and if you go right on the sensor switch, it brings up the forward-looking infrared here. Now, you can bring the forward-looking infrared up onto the HUD, and a lot of people have been asking about this. Now, to do that, all you need to do is put the HUD into night mode, and if we look down here, so you've got this little switch here, move that all the way down into night mode. So there's 3 switches. You've got day, auto, and night, so we'll move that down into night. And then all you need to do is press the sensor switch down. It's not aft. On the sensor switch you got forward, aft, left and right and down, which is like press. So if we press sensor switch down, or kind of press, it brings the forward looking infrared up onto the heads up display, so you can see things at night. And that is pretty much the Harrier ready to go. There's one more step before you can taxi. You have to switch off the parking brake. Now, it's very hard to see because it's blocked by the throttle, but if you hover your mouse here, you get an up and down arrow. If you click on that, the parking brake moves forward, and then that enables the throttle to move. So without the parking brake on, the throttle can't move. So when you turn off the parking brake, you can then activate and move the throttle backs and forwards. Right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the startup sequence for the AV-8 Harrier. I know it's been a bit quick and dirty. There's lots of other stuff to go through. In fact, one thing I've forgotten there is enabling the ejection seat. Oops a daisy. There's other things around here, like lighting controls are all down here, interior lighting controls here. But this is just a very simple and quick method of getting the aircraft up and running and ready to go. So we'll leave this here. I hope you maybe learned something from this, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much.